Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. Today's topic, well, as you can see, you're probably wondering what today's topic is because this clearly is a Cold War game. Some of you might recognize this from an earlier playthrough I did. This is a game called Menace, which they just did an update of recently, last year I believe. The designer came out with a new edition of it, and basically it's on my table because I just recently ordered the Barbarossa trilogy, because as you all know, I just cannot get away from the Eastern Front no matter what. I have always been very interested, fascinated, whatever word you want to use. It's always been one of those great what-ifs of history, one of those great challenges to me. The greatest challenge of wargaming is trying to actually successfully complete the Barbarossa campaign. So once I knew the package was on the way, I was kind of like, okay, so what am I going to play? Because I want to play games, but I don't want to get involved in anything too deep, because when the package shows up, allegedly Monday, that's what it looks like, I want to be able to tear into it. I already read the rule book. They're posted online for all three games, which I will, of course, share with you guys once they come and stuff, because I'm very intrigued. The rules are interesting. We'll see how they actually play out in a game. But, you know, if you can give me, like, the first game I'm going to do is Army Group South. If you can give me Army Group South with 140 counters or less, oh yeah, I'm interested. I mean, yeah. So anyway, so back to the point of this episode is basically the thing I want to do is just share with you some of my favorite filler games. Now, filler games, I think of filler games as something that sets up easy, just takes a few minutes, no more than, say, between 5 and 10. Plays very quick. You know, once you get the rules down pat, it's like zip, 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 zip. You know, especially if you have limited game time, you know, it's not super complicated. You don't have to go back and look at the rule book a billion times. You know, once you get the rules, so to speak, down pat. And, you know, it's something that is very easy to finish off and pick up. So it doesn't have a big footprint either, I guess, is the other thing. That's kind of the qualifier here. So I'm just going to share, no particular order here, just some of my favorite filler games. Some of these I've already done individual videos on, and actually while I'm looking at this stack, a lot of these I've already done individual videos on. So if you want to see how they play, you can always go back and take a look at those videos. So, some of my favorite filler games, first of all, the one that's sitting here right now, right in front of you, Menace. Now this is the White Dog's game version of it. Like I said, a new one just came out recently, but this basically is, you know, it's the late 1950s. There are nuclear SLBM equipped subs, but there really isn't any missiles in this game. This is all about the bomber force, and it's a lot of fun. It plays very quick. The turns go very fast. This is the second game I've played in 2 days, so you know it's challenging. It's usually, for me anyway, it's usually very tight. Although I have made a few tweaks to the rules, and I've even posted a variant thread on Board Game Geek under this listing. But this one's a good one. That's just real quick. You launch your bombers. The Soviets will launch their bombers, and let's see who can shoot down who, and let's see who can nuke what in time. You know, and the random event counters make it for a really fun game, because you just don't know each game what's going to show up first. Will Cuba launch its attack? Will they cast a lot? Will the Soviets get successful sub-attacks? Will the random event come out that sinks your U.S. sub? There's a lot of things going on here, but it's quick. It's fast. It moves. Okay. Another game, and I've done a video on this one too, is the 2 games, Islands of the Damned, from Against the Odds series, and designed by Stephen Cunliffe, as you can see there. One of these is about Wake Island in the Pacific, and the other one is Peleliu, later on in the war, where the Allies are trying to, primarily of course the U.S., is trying to capture those Japanese islands as they do the island hopping campaign on the road to Tokyo. And again, it takes a matter of minutes to set up. You can easily sit down and knock out big chunks of it at a stretch. Not a very big footprint. It's a great game. Another one, and again I've done a video on this, that I enjoy is Vietnam Solitaire. So again, this is a White Dog game version of this. I forget the designer off the top of my head, but this is the special edition one. See, it says right there, special edition. And it's, again, if you want to fight the Vietnam War, you don't want to get into a whole lot of details. You want something, again, that's going to move fast and furious. And again, all these games get my coveted 3F rating. Fast, furious, and fun. So, again, if you just want to, or you're like me, you know, my interest in Vietnam is just not what it used to be. So I like a game like this that still gives me the flavor and the challenges without, you know, getting into the bogged down, maybe bogged down's a poor word, but into the more layered rules of, say, Hearts and Mind, or, now bogged down here is appropriate, of Victory Games Vietnam, which is a great simulation, but Lord have mercy. Can't speak to the coin because I didn't care for the coin series. I tried Cuba Libre, which was supposed to be one of the easiest ones, and it just was not my cup of tea. Another good filler game is A Spoiled Victory. Dunkirk, again, another White Dog one, which I do believe this game is being re-released by somebody too. This game, again, a lot of fun, moves quick. I did a video about this, as it shows from the cover there, Dunkirk. So basically you're trying to get your boys off the continent. He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day, kind of thing. But again, it moves really quick. You know, once an event card, a card is used in its event, it goes out of the deck, it trims things down. Again, another good filler game. Now this one is one that I just recently got. I did the Kickstarter on this and its sister game, Knights of Fire. Knights of Fire is okay. Well, I guess technically I'm not really evaluating this on how much I enjoy some of these games. I'm thinking more along the lines of how much I'm using this as a filler more than anything else. So the point here, if it's a filler, then I really should include Knights of Fire. I'll go get that off the shelf here in just a moment. But Days of Ire is basically about Budapest, the uprising in October of 1956, which was ruthlessly crushed by the Soviets. This game came out a few years ago, 2016, and here you're basically trying to organize people, continue to foster the uprising, and feed it, keep it going. But again, it takes just a little bit of time to set up. The footprint's not very big. It really plays quick. I really like how quick it was played, and the flow of it, the challenge of it, which is very tense throughout the whole thing. There's more than one way to win, which is also cool. So it's another one that I will use in the future as a filler. And quite frankly, Knights of Fire qualifies too. Now this is a little more of a war game. Days of Ire is not so much a war game. It's kind of like, Days of Ire is like Pandemic meets Black Orchestra meets Twilight Struggle. This one is kind of more asymmetrical warfare. This is someone who worked on this here. You can see Brian Train was one of the designers. This is a little different. This has a little more of an Alamo feel to it, for lack of a better way to put it, but not like the hopeless, no matter what I do is no good kind of Alamo feeling that I had with DVG's War of the Worlds games. Holy smoke. If you looked at my best and worst new to me from last year, that was on there. But this is fun, not as fun as Days of Ire, but it's another good filler game. It plays quick, it's really easy, it goes fast. You know, it's a good filler game too, particularly if you like this topic. I've always been fascinated by the Hungarian uprising because when I was a kid, it was one of the first topics I really ever looked at in the Cold War. I just happened to stumble across a book, which I just got my hands on again, a nice copy, 7 Days of Freedom. And it just was really neat. It was the first real Cold War history thing I ever really read about. So, another good filler game, and again, there's a video if you want to search for it. Comes from Against the Odds Annual here. And the one game in here that's a good filler game is Strange Victory, which is a good solitaire game. I really like it. It plays quick again. Again, it's the 3F type. The only drawback to that game that I wish there was more counters than you need. Because you always know, like, you know there's going to be a certain amount of breakdown counters. Just where are they? When are they going to happen? But it would have been better if it had been like, say you need 50 counters and there was like 75. So you never know from game to game, you know, what's it going to be like, what's going to be on the board. So another good filler And this is the entire series. This is the Napoleonic 20 series. Again, as Napoleonic 20 says, only 20 counters. And again, this is a really quick, easy, fun system. It's fairly easy to play Solitaire. I usually play most of my game Solitaire, as you all know. So this is another one that, easy to set up, easy to play through. Turns are very quick. The only thing that takes a little bit of time is like the night turns, because they're a little different, but not too much different. But any one of these is a great bet. Whether it's the Fading Glory, the GMT one, or the 100 Days 20, or Leipzig 20, which I do really enjoy. That's one of the more interesting campaigns to me, is the Leipzig campaign. Actually, I have all the 1813 games that fit there. The only one I think I don't have in the Napoleonic 20 is Albion 20. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Another good one, because this one works as a filler, because you can just play one battle and put it away. And that, again, I've done a video on the Fires of Midway, done by Stephen Cunliffe also. And this one just had a new edition come out, so if you're looking for it, it shouldn't be too hard to find. But again, you can quickly, quickly set things up. It's easy to do your search. It's easy to, work through the carriers, and you can just do even one round of a battle if you want and be done with. You can keep going the way the victory conditions are. It's up to you. So I like it because, you can kind of do that, blunder of, like the Coral Sea or Midway kind of thing, where you have, you launch strikes and, everybody kind of backs off after a day kind of thing. It's up to you. So it is cool. It has a decent Solitaire system that goes with it too, that I have enjoyed. And a few tweaks I've made to that, which again you can see in the video. But it's not a nice filler game. Another nice filler game is some of the Field Commander games, like Field Commander Alexander. There's the 4 campaigns. There's the Granicus, Ishus, Tyre, and Gaugamela. And you can either link them together or just play them by themselves. And I did a video of the Tyre one if you're interested to see how the system works. But again, it doesn't take long to set up. Pretty easy to play. Field Commander Napoleon falls into that same category as well. And so does Field Commander Rommel. It doesn't take long to set them up. Doesn't take long to play them. They're very good filler games too, in my opinion. And getting here towards the end, the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, which Multiman Publishing just did a new version of in their special ops, I believe number 9, which just came out late last month. This one again is the War in Asia and the Pacific. Now, as you guys know, Fire in the Sky and Across the Pacific are my 2 favorites. But this is fun too if you just want to play quick and fast and furious. This doesn't take long to set up. Plays pretty quick. It gives you options. Yes, you can attack the Soviet Union, which some people is like, well, that's not historical. Yeah, well, so what? Deal with it, I mean, it was an option. It could have been done. Doesn't mean it should have been done. But there's lots of things that people do that they shouldn't do that they do, so to speak. Not with, like Harvey Corbin, that voodoo that you do so well in Blazing Saddles. But, so anyway, this is another good filler game. New edition just came out from Multiman Publishing. You might want to check that out. I'm kind of happy with mine, so I'm just going to keep it as is. And last but not least, good filler game. And I plan to do a video on this one sometime in the future. I did a video on Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, but just a little disclaimer. Beep, beep, beep. I did make a number of mistakes because the rulebook was the translation was not the world's greatest. I probably should have asked more questions before I shot the video, in all honesty. But it's still, it's still a lot of fun, and it plays pretty quick. But the last one, and I hope to do a video for this at some point, is the Suez 56. Now, this is one of the decision game folio games, which, I'll be honest with you, I'll be forthright. I've become less and less enamored with decision games over the years. I buy fewer and fewer of them nowadays. I still buy like an issue of World at War or S&T if it interests me. But this one, actually, of their folio games that I own, is really a blast to play. Very tense, as you saw there. It says Solitaire. So Solitaire designed. And it does a good job of portraying what was going on there. The whole race, if you will. The whole struggle of, Nasser trying to get, just basically cause as much trouble and much craziness as he could to get everybody's attention. And then you know, the British and the French trying to keep the lid on things and try to get this over with. You know, what are you doing, man? You know, kind of like if you're with somebody that's like trying to lift something or break into something. It's like, come on, dude, this is taking too much time. And then, of course, you got the U.S. and the Soviets sitting in the background, which, again, if you think about the personalities just involved in this, even, you know, Nasser, I think Macmillan was the prime minister. I'm not 100% sure of that, but that rings a bell. And then, you know, you got the Israelis that were involved in it, too. And then you've got Khrushchev, you know, doing all his bluster and looking for any ins that he can in the third world, as the term was used at the time. And then you got Ike being like, what are you idiots doing? What are you doing to me? You're killing me, people. And basically throwing his weight around and, you know, bringing Israel, the UK, and France to heel. I remember reading one book where they related a story where Eisenhower, like, almost reduced Macmillan to tears. He yelled at him that bad over the phone and basically was like, dude, what the, you know, you doing? You know, give me a break. You people stupid? So, I mean, Ike was very unhappy with that. But, by the way, there's some recent books that have come out about Eisenhower. If you're interested in that early Cold War period, that would be worth looking at. Eisenhower really has got a lot of positive reevaluation and is really getting a lot more credit for how he skillfully handled things. And even myself, over the years, I've grown to appreciate Ike much more than I did when I was younger studying the Cold War, because he really did a good job of handling things. I mean, he made his fair share of mistakes. There's no question about that. But, you know, he really handled things well. He really was quite skillful with everything. So, you know, there's a number of books. Age of Eisenhower just came out. Eisenhower's, what was that one? I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but it was like Eisenhower's, I can't remember. I'm trying to see if it's on my bookshelf over here, but I'm not seeing it. But it wasn't Eisenhower's Dilemma. I'm trying to see if it's sticking out over here like a sore thumb, but it's not. I don't see it. Okay. But it was very good. It's come out just in the last 5 years. And then there was the book about reevaluating Eisenhower's foreign policy that basically looked at all the foreign policy areas of the world and reevaluating them and basically saying, you know what, hey, I did do a good job, actually. So, you know, he was much more skilled than anybody appreciated at the time or did appreciate for a number of years. So anyway, a little tangent there about the Suez Canal crisis of '56, which was going on at the same time that the uprising in Budapest was too. So the other thing I'll just add as a filler game is, and I have a number of these, and most of these I enjoy, is the States of Siege. If you like the States of Siege games, you know, like Malta Besieged or Soviet Dawn or Israeli Independence, Lost Cause, Empires in America, any one of those, We Must Tell the Emperor, those are great filler games too that are just, you know, fun. You can play them pretty quick. You can play them more than once if you want to. They're just good games for filler games. So anyway, I just thought, I was thinking about that the other day when I was trying to pick a game and I was looking through my shelves and being like, okay, what am I going to play while I'm waiting for this package to show up? And when I started to do it, I was like, oh, this makes a good filler game. This makes a good filler game. Oh, this is a fun filler game. So, and again, a lot of these have their own videos if you wish to check them out. Just looking at my stack over here again, just to give you a quick list. Red Menace does, Vietnam Solitaire does, Islands of the Damned do, Spoiled Victory does, Greater East Asia, Field Commander Alexander, Fires of Midway do. All those have their own videos if you want to check them out and see how they play. And see, you know, if you think it would be a kind of filler game for you or not. Okay, so, as I've said the last couple of episodes here, I'm not sure where I'll come to you next. It really kind of depends on how this breaks with this new package, which I wasn't anticipating. But, you know, I feel like The Godfather Part 3, which was not a very good movie, but where Michael Corleone's like, every time I get out, they drag me back in. You know, when I found out about Conflict Simulation Limited, I think is LTD, is the last one. The L is, when somebody posted on Board Game Geek, the new young game designers, I looked at it and I looked at their website and I saw the Barbarossa thing, which is just, I'm like a moth to a flame when it comes to the whole Eastern Front from 41 to, like after, till Kursk is finished. So figure like August of 43, give or take. I know it was actually over before August, so don't anybody have a cow. Don't have a whole herd of cattle. But, yeah. So that's always, I can't, it's Tales of Brave Ulysses, whose naked ears were tortured by the sirens sweetly singing. That is my history siren. It's my longest running, no, I take that back. It's my second longest running topic of interest that I've never, ever got tired of. Alexander the Great is first. Hence why my oldest boy is named Alexander. So, okay, so there's some filler games that, again, if you're just looking for something in between, or sometimes, I get where I'm trying to choose between two longer games, and I'm just like, I can't decide. And then just like, I want to play something short just to kind of, give me a little more time to think about it, because I hate being indecisive. I got my wife a t-shirt one year for Christmas that said, I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. I hate when I get like that with games. But when I do, it's nice to have fillers to be like, okay, you know what? Let me just take a step back. Let me think about this a little bit longer before I take all the time and effort to set this all up. Nothing worse than setting up a game with like 500 to 1,000 counters and being like, no. I'm just like, what am I doing? So these filler games help with that. Okay. So next time, it kind of really depends on what happens here with the new Barbarossa trilogy. If I really like it, I'll share it with you guys pretty quick. Maybe even if I don't like it, I'll still share it. But right now, I'm very intrigued because, again, if you tell me, hey, you can do Army Group North, Army Group Center, Army Group South with 140 counters or less, you got my attention to start. And then you're telling me you can combine all three map sheets together and all three games together, and I can do the entire Barbarossa campaign with under 500 counters. Now you really have my attention. So, and the rules, like I said, I read the rules. It's intriguing. I'm interested. The combat system is interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how it plays out in the real world, so to speak. But, to quote Frank Sinatra with the Kennedy campaign in 1960, he's got high hopes. That's me right now with this Barbarossa trilogy. So we'll see how it goes. So maybe I'll share that. Again, I do have the Triumph and Tragedy thing. It's on the front burner. Wouldn't say it's on the back burner. Baston's just kind of on the back burner now. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out once it arrives here. Hopefully Monday, as scheduled. So there you go. Some of my favorite filler games when you're just waiting for a package, or you're not going to have a whole lot of time because you're going to have to do something, or something's coming up, or you're going to have an FFO, as my best friend likes to say. FFO stands for Forced Family Outing. And it's coming up, so you're not going to have time to do a whole lot of gaming. Then, use these filler games because they're fun. And I tried to pick a wide range of topics here, too. There's hopefully something for everybody. Modern Warfare, there's an ancient game, Napoleonic, etc. So, alright, so this is Tim Korchnite from Bare Bones Wargaming saying thanks for watching, and I'm going to see if I got clobbered the first time of this, the worst defeat I ever had. The Soviets nailed me with all three of their subs. They sunk my sub. They scored 65 victory points. I lost the entire West Coast. I lost Seattle, San Francisco, LA. I lost almost all of Canada. I lost Anchorage. I lost all the Greenland spots, and I lost something else too. Jacksonville? I think Jacksonville. And Omaha. I lost Omaha. So it was UGLY. Didn't have an alibi. It was ugly. So I'm hoping that this game, I'm ahead right now in this game. This game's going to be a little tighter, but as you can see, the Soviets are on their way. So, okay, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.